Hi, everyone. This is JJ, the co-founder of GoodPods. If you haven't heard of it yet, GoodPods is like Goodreads or Instagram, but for podcasts. It's new, it's social, it's different, and it's growing really fast. There are more than 2 million podcasts, and we know that it is impossible to figure out what to listen to. On GoodPods, you follow your friends and podcasters to see what they like. That is the number one way to discover new shows and episodes. You can find GoodPods on the web or download the app. Happy listening.
This podcast is hosted by Buzzsprout. Podcasting isn't hard when you have the right partners. The team at Buzzsprout is passionate about helping you succeed. Join over 100,000 podcasters already using Buzzsprout to get their message to the world. If you want an upgrade, Buzzsprout has tons of guides to help you find exactly what you need. We use Buzzsprout and it's a game changer for us. An all-new analytics system helps us track who's listening to our show and where they're listening to it. If you'd like to use Buzzsprout as well, follow the link in our show notes to buzzsprout.com. And while you're there, let them know that Films and Fermentation sent you. What episode are we doing? 110. Okay. I forgot to put that on.
This year
in film history.
This year in film history, 1987. It's right here. What year we're doing. Okay.
Yeah. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Films and Fermentation. This is episode 110. 110. We are climbing up in the numbers right now. That's right. We are Films and Fermentation, a movie and alcohol podcast. I'm Leo.
I'm Kevin.
I'm Mike.
We are three friends who like to talk shit about movies while getting shit-faced. On
Kevin's
this episode, Kevin's already there. On this episode, we're returning to another great year for cinema. This time around, we're looking at a very iconic year for movies. The year is 1987. So once again, this is episode 110. This year in film history, the year 1987. Don't forget to drop us an email at filmsandfermentation@gmail.com or visit linktree.com/filmsandfermentation to find all of our social media and podcast links. As always, we will start at the most important part. What are we drinking tonight, gentlemen?
What haven't we drunk tonight, gentlemen?
I was going to say, does Kevin want to start with what he started drinking at 2 this afternoon and go up until tonight, or does he want to just stick with what he's drinking now?
Last day of school, last day in Philadelphia School District, sayonara. I started off, let's see if I can recall. I do recall I had 3 beers. One was Victory Summer Love, which I refound this year recently, and I realized how much I enjoy it. One was Yard's Summer Crush, I want to say. And the first one, what was the first one? First one was Cape May Tan Limes, which is a lot like having a Corona with lime already in it.
Adrian's out.
And because we don't stop there, me and my coworkers rather enjoy, our time together. I had purchased a 12 variety pack of Sam Adams Summer, right? So I have a couple Sam Summer to keep me company tonight. Sam, these things are tough. Summer Adventure Lager and the Sam Summer Ale. And if I get around to it tonight, we'll go to Lining Kugel's Summer Shandy. And I've been drinking all day.
Just to give the listeners some context there, it is 8:23 p.m. on a Wednesday night as of the beginning of this program.
I started at 2.
Kevin started drinking at 2 p.m. So he's 6 hours ahead of me and Mike right now.
Yes.
He doesn't only bring the sexy, he brings the drunkenness.
So, Mike, what are you bringing to the table tonight?
Well,
I thought I just saw you drinking a Seagram's Breezer.
That's right.
Well, that's to get the tickle out of my throat.
I was going to say, that's fucking light, dude.
Yeah, man, that's as good as having a Zima. You got Zima next to you?
No.
How about a Bartums and James?
Hey. Relax.
So what are you drinking?
You talk about lightweight drinking beer while I'm sitting here drinking bourbon. This is National Bourbon Day.
National Bourbon Day.
I'm drinking
I
four
didn't
roses.
think you were a lightweight. I was just thinking that you were taking it back to 1987, man.
No,
With Zima and Bartums and James.
Mike is drinking bourbon and chasing it with Seagram's Breezers. I, too, am celebrating National Bourbon Day with a little summer bourbon drink. So I'm having my Old Smoky strawberry lemonade that Mike got me from Tennessee. And I mixed mine, though, with Sprite. I needed a little bit of a mixer tonight. So it's Sprite and strawberry lemonade bourbon.
Nice. I heard Katie was drinking the same thing, except she put it with strawberry lemonade.
She actually used strawberry lemonade with the strawberry lemonade whiskey. So it's like...
And she put it in a mixing bowl.
No, she put it in a mug about that fucking big. She's been having a rough week.
Whiskey, the rest of it was...
My wife's been having a rough week, you understand. So
Yeah,
we do.
So, Mike, anything important happened this week?
This week in film history.
You want me to take the first one since I wrote that
Go
down
ahead,
there?
that's yours.
Julia and Julia, also known as Julia E. Julia, which came out in 1987, by the way, is the first feature film that was shot in an analog version of high-definition television. So 1987 was basically the first instance of some form of HD TV. Yep.
Did you actually see that movie?
I did not. I believe it's an Italian film.
Yeah.
But it's not one that I've seen.
Isn't that the one where the one girl wants to cook just like the famous chef?
No.
That's Julia and that's Julie and Julia.
Yeah.
There's a difference?
Yes.
There is.
One's plural and singular. One stars Meryl Streep and the other one does not.
One was in 1987, one was in 2000 something.
So Mike, want to take the second one since this is
In 1967, British film To Sir With Love, directed by James Cavill and starring Sidney Poitier, is first released in the U.S.
Another one I can't say that I've seen. You know, I'm a Sidney Poitier fan. I don't think I've seen this one.
They call me
Mr. Tibbs. I've definitely seen that one.
It's the heat of the night.
I've definitely seen that one. I've definitely seen Sneakers and Lilies of the Field, but I haven't seen this one. What's the next one we got there? Oh, this is a good one.
1991, Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves opens, directed by Kevin Reynolds, and starring Kevin Costner and Morgan Freeman.
Fuck
with
me,
his
you made
best English accent ever.
Yes, the in again, out again English accent.
It's another movie with a great soundtrack, though.
I'll tell you what,
Man, that was the Makeout soundtrack of that year.
Oh hell yeah! I was in high school.
Absolutely.
Everything I do it for you. It's like a resurgence of Brian Adams.
Yeah, it was.
It's not a great movie, it really isn't. And there's a lot of flaws, but man, it's a fun fucking movie.
Alan Rickman did a bang-up fucking job as
Alan Rickman owns that film, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's still a fun movie to watch. It's a waste of time that's worth the waste of time.
You
Exactly.
9:15. You 9:30.
Bring a friend. Cancel Christmas.
He gets hard out with a spoon.
Why a spoon, cousin? Why not an axe or a sword? Because it's dull and a fat ball. So I got the last one here. This week celebrates the 30th anniversary of Jurassic Park, a movie that I have mentioned numerous times on the program as being one that's, really means a lot to me and has fed my love of movies over the years, and that I could still watch today and enjoy. And it's here. I would like to give a shout out to the Back to the Blockbuster podcast. They released their 101st episode this week, which was a revisiting of the 30th anniversary classic Jurassic Park. It was a very good episode. I highly recommend people check it out. The fun episode. And I want to say here and now, Back to the Blockbuster podcast, Films and Fermentation podcast. We should have a mega podcast at some point down the line. Mega movie podcast. A team up of epic movie proportions.
With our powers combined.
So I'm putting it out there to guys in Jackson and the guys over at Back to the Blockbuster. Let me know if you guys want to get together somewhere down the line and have some fun talking shit about films.
Because we're going to come to kick ass and chew bubble gum. And we're all out of
bubble gum. All right, Mike, you have a must-try beer or craft destination for us?
A craft destination. This one is Arizona Wilderness Brewing Company. This brewery has an outdoor theme.
Wait. Was that Arizona Wilderness or Weirdness?
Wilderness.
Wilderness. Okay, I thought I misheard you.
Brewing Company. This brewery has an outdoors theme that extends to its beers with many taproom creations using local produce. Their seasonal Saddle Mountain Saison, for example, is made with local tangelos, and the Austrus is made with pink oyster mushrooms. A great way to sample their artistic brew is to stop by the pub and get a flight. There you go.
Pink oyster mushrooms?
Yes, pink oyster mushrooms.
Okay.
I know about this place.
Not something, three words I never thought I'd hear together in a beer recipe.
It was the one that was on top for this day.
I was a little distracted by Kevin just now because I'm trying to tell if he's wearing the sunglasses because the light's hurting his eyes or if he's taking naps in between segments.
Yes.
Your sound's off, Kev.
I said the world may never look. I was coughing up a lung, and I didn't want to interfere with Mike's.
I saw you mouthing the words "pink oyster mushroom" or whatever the fuck it was.
Pink
oyster. I read that 3 times.
Don't fear the Reaper,
you guys. So
don't fear the Reaper. Fear the toilet.
All right, it's that time again, folks. Synopsis according to Glip. This synopsis, according to Glip, brought to you by Newsly. Newsly.me is an all-in-one audio super app for iOS and Android that'll read the news to you in a natural human voice. Stop scrolling, start listening. Go to Newsly.me today and use the promo code ANFERMENT to get your first month premium subscription for free. I'm actually doing that promo from memory now. That's how many times I've done it.
Yeah.
So this is an interesting Glip. Last week's episode was the not safe for work episode where we used the F word numerous times in many PG-13 and PG films to spice them up a little bit. It was a fun episode. But according to Glip, Mike, Leo, and Kevman wired remote controls, named episodes, had cold weather at school, quality of betas, scenes with Billy Crystal, and definitions of real oil. Kevman sees dead people, and Mike thinks it's good. Leo and Mike are discussing the movie Hocus Pocus and decide to skip the first one because it's sick. And the participants discuss the scenes with the raccoons and the hot dogs. I don't think I have to explain that one. I think that one's really accurate.
That's dead on.
I think it's good.
Yeah, so the wired remote controls when we were talking about the Betamax with the remote that had the wire on it, and then naming episodes. I think we were talking about the show notes or something. cold weather at school. I don't know what the fuck that was about. I think we were talking about the fires or something and how it was like affecting school and stuff. The quality of the Betamaxes we talked about at one point. We were talking about the Billy Crystal scenes in The Princess Bride and how they were probably the best ones for the F word. Definition of real oil. I don't know that one. I don't remember what that was about. Kevman Sees Dead People. That was, of course, The Sixth Sense. Mike thinks it's good. I don't know what you thought was good. I'm sure it was something, probably drink related. We were discussing the movie Hocus Pocus and decided to skip the first one because it was sick. I don't know what got combined there, but
Hocus Pocus. We skipped the first one of what?
That's a few things got combined there. And they discussed scenes with raccoons and hot dogs. That was The Great Outdoors. So, yeah, synopsis according to Glip did not disappoint this week.
No.
We will be right back after this short break with our main segment, This Year in Film History, the year 1987.
Hey movie lovers, it's Jackson here from the Back to the Blockbuster podcast. If you've ever wanted to hear an amateur cinephile and an industry professional chat about film and television, then look no further, because every week my co-host Gaius and I, we bring you the latest industry news, break down the most recent trailers, try to beat the box office with our weekly predictions, and dive into our favorite movies on their anniversaries. And every second Friday, you can look forward to the Back to the Blockbuster spin-off, Deep Dives with Owen and Gaius, where the duo dissects a movie of their own choice. All this and more wherever you get your podcasts.
Hello, Spooklings.
I'm Jason.
And I'm Kathy.
And we're the hosts of the weekly podcast, All Hallows Eve Podcast.
We are a husband and wife duo with a passion for anything spooky, macabre, and true crime, sprinkled with our own twist of comedy.
We explore topics such as the history of Halloween, The Butcher of Plainfield, Hocus Pocus 2, urban legends, superstitions, and more.
So come join us as we go down the rabbit hole that is All Hallows Eve Podcast.
Listen and follow us at allhallowsevepodcast.com or your favorite podcast provider.
Stay spooky, my friends.
All right. Hey, everybody. We are back from that short little break. Thank you for staying with us here. We are going on to our main segment, a segment we have done a couple times before, This Week in Film History. In the past, we visited 1984, 1999. I believe we did 1993 one time. I don't remember all the years we did. I know we've done like 3 or 4 of these already. But this time around, this time, I should probably write them down. This time around, we are doing 1987 because when I was researching years to do for this episode, I couldn't believe how many friggin' movies were like amazing films that came out that year. This is a really, really good year for movies. So we are looking mainly at 2 things here. We are sticking with domestic gross. I am not looking at the worldwide box office. So the films are in order from number 1 to number whatever, based on just the United States box office alone. And it's an in-year release box office. So I'm not looking at anything that came out in like December of 86 and was still hanging on, the next year. These are all movies that came out within the year 1987. So these are truly 1987 films in every respect. So the first one on this list shocked me, really, really shocked me. I knew that this was a movie that did better than expected when it came out in 1987, but I did not realize it was the number 1 grossing film
Let's see if our
domestically.
listeners know based on the song. Good night, sweetheart.
Well, it's time to go. Good night, sweetheart. Well,
it's time to go.
I was going to say it's a movie that was fueled by the power of the Gutenberg.
It was probably the last spark of the Gutenberg.
Yeah. So
they had an old lady after that.
Yeah.
What did he have after that?
3 Men and a Little Lady.
Yeah, and we know that the spark had faded by that point because 3 Men and a Little Lady.
Yeah, so this film, if you haven't figured it out yet, is 3 Men and a Baby, starring Ted Danson, Steve Gutenberg, and Magnum P.I.
That's right.
Tom Selleck.
The stash.
The
He
stash.
goes by the stash.
The stash was still there in 1987 when he did
He's
this
telling us
film.
the stash now.
Yeah. Well, he shaved it off for a little while,
some
but
people can pull it off. He pulls it off, and he pulls it off well without ever pulling it off.
Still a sexy man.
That's right.
So this is one of those films I think that benefited from an amazing trailer, because I remember the trailer from this film having that scene where they sing "Goodnight, Sweetheart," and I think it's that was part of the appeal that got people to come out and see this film. I think, but that being said, it opened at $10 million and closed at 167 million plus. That's fucking amazing.
What people don't know is that the baby was actually played by Scarlett Johansson.
Yeah.
That was her first screen credit.
That'd be funny if it was.
But what you also got to think about, you got Ted Danson, who's just coming off Cheers. You've got Magnum PI.
He's actually still on Cheers at this point.
Yeah,
he's in the middle of the run because Cheers ran until 1991. So he was like, and this is like, this was the point where Cheers was, I think, at the pinnacle. It was the #1 show on Thursday nights, and he was a superstar at that point. Yeah.
You got Magnum PI, and then you got Gutenberg coming off all his, success.
So this film followed Police Academy, Cocoon. I want to say Short Circuit. So like this is the epiphany of Gutenberg at this point.
It is.
But man,
and all I'm going to say, gentlemen, is that Scarlett Johansson was born on November 22nd, 1984.
Okay.
When a
baby
would have been born.
Old to be a baby for this film.
No. You think it was released in 87. They had to at least film it a year or two in advance. I'm just saying.
If I IMDb it, am I gonna be proven wrong?
No, I am, but still.
Or is this 6 hours of drinking talking right now? So this is also Walt Disney Studios motion picture. So is it currently on Disney Plus?
Might be, but wasn't that actually called Touchstone prior to that? Wasn't it Touchstone before it became like Disney wanted to keep their name clean of like Disney They had I know one of the
Touchstone for more risque movies,
but they also had Buena Vista Pictures too.
Yeah, but this one wasn't that risky. This was definitely very.
So was it put out as a Disney picture? Was it put out as a Touchstone or Buena Vista?
No, it says distributor is Walt Disney Studios. So
motion pictures.
Right.
Yeah, because they have a second one in the top 10 here, which I'm really didn't until now did not know is a Walt Disney Studios picture. But we'll get to that one. The second one is a Paramount picture. Opened at $7 million and closed that year at 156 and change.
Another one that surprised me at number 2.
I'm not as surprised about this one being in the top 5 as I was 3 Men and a
top
Baby.
5. I'm just number 2.
Yeah, number 2. Number 2 is a film that tells you to make sure you keep your rabbits safe. When Glenn Close is
number 2 work for?
Keep your rabbits away from Glenn Close.
Yes.
The movie in question is Fatal Attraction.
Look,
Keep it
she
in your
was
pants,
just
guys. Keep it in your pants.
there was a misunderstanding, a simple miscommunication between her and Michael Douglas.
Yeah, Michael Douglas couldn't keep it in his pants.
Extramarital affairs per capita were down that year. Guys didn't want their mistresses boiling their rabbits and trying to kill them.
This was bad, and then Ice Picks became worse.
Well, that was Basic Instinct. That was in the 90s, I think. Number 3. So this one opened at number 1, but didn't finish at number 1 for the year because it opened at $26 million, which is by far the largest opening of 1987. And that is Beverly Hills Cop Deuce. Part 2.
And that's where they should have stopped because 3 sucked.
This is the one that closed at $153 million and change. Another Paramount picture. So Paramount had the number 2 and number 3 movie of the year. That's pretty good. This is definitely one of the better sequels, I think.
Yeah.
In movie history, sequels often are hit or miss, like Beverly Hills Cop 3, which is definitely a miss. But Beverly Hills Cop 2, I think a lot of people saw Beverly Hills Cop 2 before they saw the first one. Because this is also like the pinnacle of Eddie Murphy at this point as well.
Everybody could play it on the piano. It was that and chopsticks. Everybody knew how to play those two things on the piano.
So this is amazing. The number 4 movie only opened at $194,000 because it only opened in 4 theaters originally. Then it went to 1,598 theaters by the end of its run, making $123 million for the year, landing it in the number 4 spot. A movie that I am surprised to see was a Walt Disney Studios motion picture. Because it is one of my favorite movies of all time, with one of my favorite actors of all time, a man whose career we did a whole episode about way back in season 4, I believe. It is the Robin Williams classic, the movie that got him his first Oscar nomination for Best Actor. Good morning, Vietnam!
I love that movie. I saw that one in the theaters. I
love.
Remember seeing this one in the theaters.
It's the movie that made me like fall in love with Robin Williams as an actor too. Like I think it's
what
the
made
first.
Mike enlist.
Made Mike enlist. Yeah.
That's a little early for that. It's about 6 years, but
if the VP is such a VIP, shouldn't we repeat the PC on the QT? Otherwise, you might get abducted by the VC, and then we end up MIA, and then we'd all be put on KP.
Airman, what does 3 up and 3 down mean to you?
End of an inning. You are more in need of a blowjob than any white man in history. That's funny. Great movie, classic.
That was one of.
I'm turning around because I'm hearing things dropping behind
I
me.
want to
So
say
there's
Lawrence Fishburne. Is it Lawrence Fishburne? No.
Forrest Whitaker.
Forrest Whitaker.
Forrest Whitaker.
Movies, yeah.
Hey, bub. What's up? Kevin's been drinking since 2. So, all right, moving on. Unless we have anything else to say about Good Morning Vietnam, which I think we've said a lot about already.
We've said a lot about that one already.
Next one is one that I think we've mentioned before, but not really talked about much. Opening at $127,000, but then eventually closing at $80 million plus, and becoming a surprise hit that year, as well as a movie. Yeah, as well as a movie that would win Cher an Oscar for Best Actress.
Mm-hmm.
The movie is the movie that stars Kevin's favorite actor, Nicolas Cage.
Woohoo!
Moonstruck.
Johnny's got his hand. Johnny's got his wife.
Actually, one of his better performances, I think.
It is.
Funny. Go ahead, Kevin.
I was just going to say I have a fond. My affinity or my fondness for this movie is personal. My mother loved it. My father could not keep his eyes open if he was paid to do it. The minute it started, he fell asleep. You know, like mid-dressing, like putting his socks on, he would fall asleep if this movie came on. It was a natural hypnotic thing, you know?
That's funny. There are I have many movies like that in my life as well, so yeah. Moonstruck, so I have a side note here. It's kind of funny. Is the Flash movie that is coming out or just came out?
Yes.
Has a scene in it where you see all these various versions of the different heroes in this like big multiverse portal thing. And it's like they don't interact with these characters. You just kind of see glimpses of them. And one of the ones you get to see a glimpse of is the Nicolas Cage Superman.
I heard that.
There's a Nicolas Cage Superman. There's a Christopher Reeve Superman.
Good.
There's the Supergirl from 1982. So there's like all these like, you know, various versions of Superman, Batman, the Flash, and all like pop up in this multiverse scene. And I just wanted to mention that because Nicolas Cage is Kevin's favorite actor.
Johnny's got his hand. Johnny's got his bride.
One of these days we're going to do a recasting of Con Air. Number 6 is a possible future Films and Fermentation Friday feature. Say that 7 times fast. That is one of the best gangster films of all time. Don't look at it for historical accuracy, folks. Just watch it for the entertainment value. The movie won Sean Connery the Oscar for Best Supporting Actor this year. Stars Kevin Costner in one of his first major leading roles, and a hardly recognizable Robert De Niro as Al Capone, The movie
Don't
is
forget Andy Garcia.
and Andy Garcia, very young Andy Garcia.
Mm-hmm.
And the film we are talking about is The Untouchables, directed by
What are
Brian
you
De
prepared
Palma.
to do?
What are you prepared to do? He pulls out a knife, you pull out a gun. He sends one of yours to the hospital, you send one of his to the morgue. That's the Chicago way.
I want him dead.
I want him dead. I want his family dead. I want his house burnt to the ground. I want to go there in the middle of the night and piss on the ashes. Now, my favorite De Niro's. Yeah, that's my favorite De Niro scene is when he cracks the guy's head open with the baseball bat, and he's like, "What's the one thing that you have when you're at the bat? You're all by yourself, Babe Ruth, Ty Cobb, swing, walk, home run all the live long day. But when you're out in the field, you're part of a team. Teamwork." And it beats the shit out of the guy with the baseball bat. So it's another great movie. Another one that's made a lot of money that year. It was in the top 10, which is pretty respectable. It's opened at $10 million and closed the year at $76 million. And has since gone on to become like, a classic, I think, at this point. And it was one of those movies that made a ton of money on VHS.
Oh yeah.
Constantly being rented and also being like played all the time on like HBO and Cinemax and shit like that when it came out.
Yep.
Great
I have a concept, a show idea. I'm going to throw it out. I know we're in the midst of this, but we need to focus on Kevin Costner classics. Okay, talk about alliteration because no. There
you want to do a
handful.
Kevin Costner
I
episode?
think we can do a Kevin Costner classic episode, and we each choose 5 Kevin Costner movies, maybe 10, that you would put into the classics because he has enough that would fit in there.
But I mean, we could always do the career Kevin Costner, like we've done with Robin Williams and Spielberg and all that in the past.
Yeah, but then we got to touch on Waterworld.
Yeah, but you can like split it though, because you can talk about his successes as an actor and his successes as a director in the movies that weren't so successful.
Yes, I guess. All right. Just
I heard a fun story.
Idea.
I saw a fun video about Kevin Costner earlier that if we do an episode about Kevin Costner, I'll have to save it for that. So, Number 7. One of the few movies in my lifetime that I have never seen, starring Michael J. Fox, The Secret of My Success. Again, very rarely we come across a movie I haven't seen.
Yeah.
This is one of them. Talented young man can't get an executive position without rising through the ranks, so he comes up with a shortcut, which also benefits his love life.
This wasn't the one where he was heading to L.A. and drove his car off the road and hit a fence and had to do community service.
Wasn't that Doc Hollywood?
Oh,
yeah.
The one we talked about before has the great scene with Julie Warner coming out of the water.
Yes.
So have either of you guys seen Secret of My Success? Because I have not.
Well, now that I know that it wasn't about him driving his car into a fence, then no,
I haven't seen that one. All right. Hold on a sec. My computer is not charging, and I don't know. There we go. Next one on the list here, number 8. One that I've seen, but not in a really long time.
Yeah.
Stakeout.
This is Emilio Estevez and Richard Dreyfuss, right?
That is correct. Yep. Opened at $5 million and closed at lost my place here. $65 million for the year. I was actually surprised that those two movies were as high as they were. Secret of My Success, Stakeout.
I want to say another Stakeout stands out stronger in my memory than the first Stakeout does.
Yeah, because I think Stakeout was kind of like playing on the coattails of like Beverly Hills Cop.
Right.
It's
kind of like the same way another 48 Hours stands out stronger in my memory than 48 Hours.
That's because you're too young to remember 48 Hours.
That's why I said most people probably know Beverly Hills Cop 2 better than they know Beverly Hills Cop 1. age thing. You got to think in 1987 I was 10, so I was seeing a few more films than I was in 1983. Speaking of great movies that came out in 1987, number 9, I couldn't believe this one wasn't higher on the list. I really thought this one was going to be
one of my favorites.
Opening at $6 million, closing at $65 million. Coined the phrase, "I'm getting too old for this shit."
Yeah, and I'm going now. I'm getting too old for this
Yeah,
shit.
we're all getting too old for this shit now. Starring Danny Glover and a very, very young, very coiffed and beautiful Mel Gibson.
That's right.
His
Fresh
hair
off of
was
Mad
perfect.
Max.
Yeah, the
Man,
film
his hair was
is
perfect.
of course, Lethal Weapon.
Lethal Weapon.
And I
Is this a
remember
Christmas
It was
movie?
more
Is this it?
hardcore of the movies.
this is one of those arguments: is it a Christmas movie or not?
It happens
I
at
mean,
Christmas.
when they shoot up his trailer, it is Christmas time, isn't it?
I'm gonna say, like, if you consider Die Hard a Christmas movie, then you should consider Lethal. You can't be discriminatory that way. Like, if you're gonna say Die Hard is not, then obviously Lethal Weapon is not. But if you're one of those people who are on the argument that Die Hard is a Christmas movie, then Lethal Weapon better be a fucking Christmas movie.
Yeah, no shit.
I remember because, like I said, I was 10 years old when this movie came out, and I didn't know what a lethal weapon was, and I was calling it a legal weapon for the longest time. And a friend of mine was like, "What's an illegal weapon?" And I was like, something that kills people, like that movie. And he's like, "Lethal Weapon?" And I was like, "What the fuck does that mean?"
Wait. This movie wasn't the one with John Candy and Eugene Levy and what am I thinking of here?
Splash?
No, but that was another one. Wasn't there one with John Candy as a security officer and Eugene Levy was a security officer? What am I thinking of here?
I don't know. You can figure that one out. You can figure that one out while Mike and I move on to number 10.
Oh, you guys are no fun.
Look it up, man.
We got a long list here. We got to keep
a long
moving.
list here, yeah. And we're going to eventually start doing what we did before and, like, kind of picking a few out here and there. Number 10.
There's a lot.
I know. Like, I'm trying to figure out, like, where are we going to stop this at? Because there's so many movies. Like you said,
200 movies on this list.
Yeah, but in, like,
Yes,
the top
60
have some, like, really good ones.
The top 60 is great.
So let's start, like, kind of flying through this a little bit. Number 10 stars Jack Nicholson. Who else is in this one? Michelle Pfeiffer. I'm having trouble, man. Why is this not taking me to where I want it to go? This is pissing me off.
But are you're clicking on it to get to the?
Yeah, I'm
IMDb
trying to get the
tree?
IMDb, and it's taking me to the box office.
Armed and Dangerous. Lethal Weapon was Armed and Dangerous.
Armed and Dangerous. Yeah, that's not what I'm talking about. So this is, folks, this is what we talk about when we say that we like to talk shit about movies. We're getting shit-faced because we are starting to get a little shit-faced here. Like, Kevin's been shit-faced. I'm on my second big-ass mason jar of bourbon right now, so
Which is the V-Swig starring Susan
Sarandon, Susan Sarandon, Cher, and
Cher.
Michelle Pfeiffer.
Was it Michelle Pfeiffer?
Yes,
It was Michelle Pfeiffer. Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. Because this is young Michelle Pfeiffer. This is sweaty, moist Michelle Pfeiffer.
You said moist.
I was watching an old Karen Gillan Doctor Who episode and made me think of sweaty and moist.
Oh lordy.
But this is another good one. Another one I haven't seen in a really long time, which is I was pretty young when I saw it the first time. Number 11, we talked about on the movies that made us, Dirty Dancing, with Swayze and Jennifer Grey, which I don't think we really have to get into that one too much.
No, not again.
Number 12 is a Arnold Schwarzenegger fucking classic.
You are one ugly
motherfucker. Yeah, let the listeners guess that one, man. I ain't got time to bleed. You got time to duck? What else did they say in that one? If it bleeds, we can kill it. Get to the chopper.
Get to the chopper.
We are, of course, talking about Kindergarten Cop.
Jesus.
Number
Not
12.
The Duma.
Not
it's
the
a predator.
Number 12 on the list, opening at 12 million, closing at 59 million and change, is Predator, the original, the best of them all still. You know, there's been 9 million sequels and spin-offs and offshoots, and none of them have been as good as the original.
No.
Speaking of Billy Crystal,
Indeed.
I had no way to segue from Predator into the next film.
Danny DeVito was in Predator. You can make the
Danny
connection.
DeVito was a Predator.
Danny DeVito was in Predator. You make the connection there, man.
Billy Crystal was the guy in the suit that was the monster. Yeah, it was all that.
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
So the next one
You're all
is
the blue scrub.
He was named Mike Wazowski.
what?
Mike Wazowski.
That was the name. Mike Wazowski was the name of the Predator on his
Okay,
homeland
Mike
planet.
Wazowski.
Mike Wazowski.
So the next one stars Billy Crystal, Danny DeVito, and Anne Ramsey, who was best known as Mama Fratelli in The Goonies. And this film actually garnered her an Oscar nomination for Best Supporting Actress. Throw Mama from the Train.
From the train.
Weird ass movie.
This was a retelling of what was it? Two Strangers or
Strangers on a Train? Yeah, because it's the old what is it? I can't think of the writer's name. Who did like 10 Little Indians and all that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about. I can't think of the writer's name, but she wrote Strangers on a Train, and it's kind of based on that concept in that Danny DeVito wants his mother murdered and asks Billy Crystal to do the job for him. And, hilarity ensues. The funniest movie about murder ever.
Because of all people to ask to kill your mother, let's ask Billy Crystal to do it.
Yeah, get Billy Crystal to do it for you. It's a weird movie, man.
Yeah.
I remember when I saw it the first time thinking, like, I don't know, man. I don't know about this film. Like, I think it made money off of the title because it's a great title. The concept and Anne Ramsey, who was just hilarious in this and in The Goonies. So, came up with that. It's Agatha Christie was the writer I was trying to think of. The next one is another really weird one.
Well, this is based on a television series, TV show. Yeah,
but it's based on a TV show. It's Dragnet, starring Dan Aykroyd and Tom Hanks. But it's a very, very strange adaptation of the TV show Dragnet.
It went way out to left field.
It was like Dragnet was a very straight-laced, serious cop drama, and this one didn't know whether it wanted to be a drama or a comedy.
This introduced me to paganism.
Yeah, yeah, right. Because they're hunting pagans in the film. Yeah, that go right there tells you how strange this fucking movie was.
Wasn't Christopher Glover in it? Not Christopher Glover.
Crispin Glover?
Not Crispin Glover. Christopher Plummer. Christopher Plummer. Wasn't he in this?
Was he in Dragnet? I don't remember. I mean, this is
another
another
one.
one.
The head Pumbaa or the head pagan.
Let me see, because this is another one. Like, it's been a really long time since I've seen this. You're right. Dan Aykroyd, Tom Hanks, Christopher Plummer. Harry Morgan's in it. Harry Morgan was Colonel Potter in MASH, but he was also in the original Dragnet TV show. So they had him in it playing a role. But really, really weird adaptation. The next one is the Renaissance of Lou Diamond Phillips, which never really took off as much as we were hoping it would until he reappeared this year on Masked Singer. Yes, it is La Bamba. La Bamba, the movie.
He was riding on the coattails of Young Guns and Young Guns 2, right? Wasn't Young Guns 2?
It might have been the Young Guns.
You also had the Buddy Holly story come out a couple years before this with Gary Busey, and this is kind of like the offshoot of that since they died in the plane together.
Wasn't he also in Stand and Deliver, which was also around this time?
Yes.
Yeah, he was one of the students that Edward Jizz almost teaches in the film. But La Bamba is the movie.
Edward Jizz almost?
No, Edward James almost. La Bamba is the film that made white people everywhere think that they could sing in Spanish. Number 16 is, of course, my mother's favorite movie. RoboCop.
That poor man.
That poor man. $8 million it opened to, closed at $53 million. According to the world's craziest director, Paul Verhoeven, it is a Jesus metaphor.
You're coming with me.
It's because Jesus is known for saying that in the Bible. Yeah. Turn the other cheek and come with me if you want to live. RoboCop, though, classic, one of the films that made us. We've talked about it a million times already. It's not one we have to keep going over, as much as I would like to spend a whole episode on RoboCop. Number 17 is Outrageous Fortune. This one, I feel like I don't think I'm too familiar with this one either.
Was
this
Shelley Long, Bette Midler.
Bette Midler?
I think it was
No.
Bette Midler.
Bette Midler, Shelley Long.
Shelley Long, yeah.
Two women unknowingly share the same man, but when he disappears, both go out looking for him and enter his surprisingly dangerous life. I've never seen it.
I remember the movie poster for this. It's the two of them hanging off of a cliff. But that's all I know about it because I've never seen the actual film. Number 18 is a good movie. It's an Albert Brooks film, Broadcast News. I'm going to kind of go a little quickly here. We'll stop on ones that we really want to talk about. Number 19 is The Living Daylights. One of the Timothy Dalton ones, right, Mike?
Dalton. It's its first. It's the first one.
First one for Timothy Dalton as James Bond. Mildly successful, coming out in 19 that year. Yeah. Eddie Murphy having a big year because he also had Eddie Murphy Raw, the stand-up movie event that's finished 20 that year. Great fucking stand-up routine, man. Great one.
Yeah, great one.
Guys, I need to point something out. I do.
Yes.
I'm sorry. I know I'm anyway, I've been going through the movies. There is a common denominator, a common thread, if you will, with these movies in 1987.
Is it that they all came out in 87?
Well, that too. Yes. That's but Robert Prosky has been in like 98% of the movies that came out in 1987. Now, if you don't know, Robert Prosky was the guy that was in Broadcast News, Mrs. Doubtfire. He was the one in charge of the children's show. He's been in. I'm looking these up, and all the actors and actresses, they change except for him. He's in every single one.
He was in. He was the TV executive in Mrs. Doubtfire.
Yes.
Yeah, Robert Prosky. Yeah, wow.
Yes, but he's been in Dragnet. He's been in La Bamba. He's been in Predator. He was the Predator. He was in, Eddie Murphy Raw. He was the white guy that Eddie Murphy was
he was the guy in the
to.
crowd, white guy in the crowd. So I'm looking at 1987 here. So in 1987, he was in Broadcast News. He was also in a TV show called Old Dogs, the TV show Murder, She Wrote. He was in Big Shots. He was in the TV show Hill Street Blues. He was in Outrageous Fortune. And he was in an episode of Alfred Hitchcock Presents. Like, that's a pretty busy 1987.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man. That's where his money came from.
So, getting back to the list, number 21 is the greatest Thanksgiving film of all time, because it's probably the only Thanksgiving film I could really think of. Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. Why are you holding my hand?
This is Thanksgiving, Charlie Brown.
Why are you holding my hand? Why are you kissing my ear? Where's your other hand? Between two pillows. Those aren't pillows. Great fucking movie.
You're going the wrong way.
Good one.
Where we're going.
One of those like yearly rewatches. It's Thanksgiving time. Let's watch some Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
Let the turkey settle and just watch some Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
That's right. Number 22 is a cheat because Walt Disney didn't make enough money that year. They had the re-release of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs from the 1930s.
Well, this was before they started their Renaissance era with The Little Mermaid. This was the lead up. They had to have something to get people back into theaters. So
I think they were this was also the time that they were doing like their vault thing where it was like, get it now before it closes in the Disney vault and all that shit. So yes. Number 23, the
Jelly Donut.
Full Metal Jacket, Stanley Kubrick classic. Of course, in my opinion, it's only classic for like the first half hour or so.
Yeah.
There's some people actually will argue that, the rest of the movie is worth it too, but I kind of just really only like the first half hour or so.
Yeah. I prefer
Were you
to watch
born a back slimy scumbag puke piece of shit private pie, or did you have to work on it?
I prefer to watch
Platoon.
Platoon, yeah.
So My charger is really not working at all right now. It's pissing me off.
Do we need to pause for a minute?
I'm trying to pause it because I don't want to lose
You
anything.
best unfuck yourself, or I will unscrew your head and shit down your neck.
So we're going to be like flying through these now because there are a lot of movies on this list, and we want to make sure we do justice to some of the ones that deserve to be talked about. So number 24, Nightmare on Elm Street Part 3, The Dream Warriors. Many people
Well, they should have stopped.
where they should have stopped. A lot of people claim this is one of the best of the Nightmare on Elm Street films. It's one of my favorites of the series.
Mhm.
Last Emperor, number 25, Steven Spielberg film.
Yep.
26 is the film that taught us that greed is good. Wall Street.
That's right.
27 is a movie that made Kevin fall in love with Kim Cattrall.
That's right. And the local movie,
Oh,
I had a shot. It was local.
It was local. It was filmed in Philadelphia. Mannequin.
Mm-hmm. Mannequin.
Number 28 is a Steve Martin classic, Roxanne, which is a modern day take on the Cyrano de Bergerac story. Blind Date, which is one of Bruce Willis's first films.
yes, it was.
Again, I was 10 years old when this movie came out, and I thought blind date meant that she was actually blind. Number 30
blind
is
people need love too.
Yeah, number 8. So 1987 was a really good year for Arnold Schwarzenegger because at number 30 he had another film, The Running Man, based on a Stephen King story.
That's what I thought I heard. Yeah, based on Stephen King, and the source for a very popular dance in the late 80s, early 90s.
So Stephen King used to write under a pseudonym, Richard Bachman, and this book was written under the Richard Bachman pseudonym. And he would use it for books that weren't necessarily the genre that he was normally known for. So this was like more sci-fi than it was horror.
Sci-fi action. Yeah.
Yeah. Now the novel is really, really different from the film. I've read the book, and it's very bleak, a lot more bleak than the film is. But I really do like the movie because it's one of those Arnold specials where you get some really, really good one-liners.
And we're only about 5 years away from this becoming an actual game show, especially if the writer's strike continues.
It's really going, yeah. I keep waiting for The Running Man to come out on TV. Number 31 is probably the greatest Star Trek spoof of all time.
We're at now.
Baseball.
Star Wars.
Star Wars. I'm sorry, I said Star Wars. Hey, I'm drinking too.
Yeah, I just want to make sure we get it right.
We're at now. When will then be now? Soon.
He's the Spaceballs.
Merchandising.
Merchandising.
We ain't found shit.
I thought of that the other night when I was at the Phillies game because the guys came out to clean the bases, and how they drag those things behind them. And I'm watching them clean the bases, and I nudged Katie and I went, "Look, Kate, they ain't found shit." Speaking of Kevin Costner, oh wait, I skipped one. I'm sorry. Number 32, a cult comedy classic, Summer School.
Summer School.
I love Summer School.
Where have you been? I've been in the bathroom for 6 weeks. My zipper got stuck. And the kid who was stuck in the bathroom got the highest grade.
Yeah, he got a 90. I like when they were giving the grades at the end, and the two friends are always together, Chainsaw and the other guy, and the one guy passed, and he's like, "You passed and I failed, you asshole." And he's like, "I'm sorry, I could fail. I'll take it again." I have that great scene where they do all the horror movie makeup shit to scare the substitute teacher.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a silly fucking movie, man, but it does give us a really, really beautiful and young Courtney Thorne-Smith.
Yes, it does.
As does one of the other movies later on this list. Then we got No Way Out, the Kevin Costner classic that Kevin was speaking about pre-show.
Yes.
Like Father, Like Son. This was one of the years that we talked about in twin films. And this is a year where there's like 5 movies that are all about like fathers and sons switching places. And one of them is Like Father, Like Son. Number 35, an Elizabeth Shue classic. Adventures in Babysitting.
If you loved her during The Karate Kid, you'll love her
during
even
this
more
one.
here.
You'll also love that on-screen premiere of Vincent D'Onofrio as the Thor lookalike.
Yeah.
Number 36 is the Disney continuance of re-releases, Cinderella, 1987 re-release. Number 37, the Gutenberg I'm not certain. That's not the Gutenberg one. I'm thinking of
No.
Short Circuit. This is
Yes.
Batteries Not Included, number 37. That was Jessica Tandy and Hume Cronin.
Right.
Yep. It's easy because they were both in Cocoon too.
They were both in Cocoon.
So.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's easy to get them confused. Number 38. We just talked about this one a couple episodes ago when we recasted it. The Lost Boys.
Lost Boys.
One thing I hate about what's the name of it? Santa Clara. All the goddamn vampires.
And you guys balked when I said Paul Rudd is Max, but Paul Rudd was actually a villain in one of the Nightmare on Elm Street movies, wasn't he? Wasn't he?
What?
Paul Rudd was a villain in one of the Nightmare on Elm Street movies. Or no, not Nightmare on Elm Street.
I was going to say that was Freddy Krueger.
Michael Myers. Michael Myers, right? Yeah.
He was a villain. He was a villain in one of the Halloween films.
Halloween films. Yes, he was.
I will have to double check that later on because I don't know what you're talking about. Number 39, Can't Buy Me Love. Is that was that a Patrick Dempsey film?
Yes, it was.
Yes, it was, right? One that I can't say I've seen more than probably once. Number 40 is a movie called Nuts.
Never heard of it.
Never heard of this film. This is another one of those ones I don't think I've ever seen or heard of. Nuts, 1987, starred Richard Dreyfuss and Barbara Streisand.
No.
A high-class call girl accused of murder fights for the right to stand trial rather than be declared mentally incompetent. Wow, that sounds like a barrel of fucking laughs.
Consider it's called Nuts.
I know. It's a dramatic thriller. I expected a movie called Nuts to be a comedy.
Yeah, no shit.
That's really strange. I might have to watch that now. Number 41. A movie that should be way higher on this list.
Oh, hell yes.
But was not well...
it's inconceivable that it's not.
Well, it wasn't like a box office success, obviously, when it came out, but has since become a cult classic and one that most people would argue is one of their favorite films, and that is The Princess Bride.
Hello. My name is
You killed my father.
You killed my father. Prepared today.
It's funny. The guy that plays Vicini in it, Wallace Shawn, one of his first films came out in 1980s called My Dinner with Andre. And it wasn't about Andre the Giant, but then he would go on to star with Andre the Giant in Princess Bride. Inconceivable. Number 42 is our second dose of Courtney Thorne-Smith, Revenge of the Nerds 2, Nerds in Paradise.
Not as good as the first one, but not terrible.
It's a movie that I still really like. Harry and the Hendersons, number 43. That's another one I think is probably a cult classic. That's one.
I like that one.
I think that's one that needs to be revisited. I don't think many people know that this movie exists. Harry and the Hendersons.
And the TV show that followed.
Time forgot.
Yeah, it is. It's definitely a movie that time forgot. It's a John Lithgow film in which he and his family find Bigfoot in the forest and bring him home to live with them, and Harry becomes part of the family. Harry and the Hendersons. It's a good family film. It's not like it's not one you have to worry about watching with the kids, you know. As opposed to number 44, Police Academy 4, Citizens on Patrol, followed by 45, Overboard, which was Goldie Hawn and Kurt Russell. Baby Boom, which was a what was her name? Diane Keaton film. 47. This is the next one I want to talk about because I love this movie. It's Martin Short and Dennis Quaid, Inner Space. Where
it's a messed up movie.
It's a fantastical sci-fi film, but it's really, really funny.
Yes,
and it mostly has to do with Martin Short and the physical comedy that he puts himself through to play the role of a man who has another man shrunken and inside of his body. Meg Ryan is in this film as well.
She is.
That's where her and Dennis Quaid got together.
That's right.
And produced the Quaid that's in The Boys.
Yes, that is Jack Quaid. 10 Men, number 48. I don't know what that movie is.
No idea.
I'm assuming it's. I want to say it's probably a military film, but then again, I was wrong thinking that Nuts. Wrong thinking that Nuts was a comedy.
Now I looked it up earlier. It's something about two men inciting.
So, oddly enough, this one also stars Richard Dreyfuss. Richard Dreyfuss, Danny DeVito, Barbara Hershey, and John Mahoney, and it's about a minor car accident drives two rival aluminum siding salesmen to the ridiculous extremes of man versus man in 1963 Baltimore. Yeah, they lost me already on that one. Black Widow, number 49, and of course the seminal classic at number 50, Ernest Goes to Camp.
Now, number 51 is going to be Kevin's.
Yeah, so I was going to say from here.
No. I'm going to be honest. So, I mean, look, just because I don't like Nicolas Cage doesn't mean I can't appreciate a movie that Nicolas Cage is in.
Mm-hmm.
This is one of the better movies I've seen with Nicolas Cage and not Helen Hunt.
It's Holly Hunter.
Holly Hunter.
Yeah.
And John Goodman.
I should say first,
man, I love this movie.
Now that we're at number 50, we're not going to go through the whole list. We're each going to pick out one that we really like from each of the next sets of 10. So starting with number 50, okay. Kevin is choosing number 51, which is Kev.
I am. Raising Arizona. Coen Brothers, one of the Coen Brothers' first movies.
I think it might be their first movie or maybe their second film. Yeah. It's definitely an early one.
Whereas a couple who is one ex-con and one former police officer can't have children. They are a couple, and they decide to kidnap one of the 8 baby Arizona children of one of the more prestigious families in Arizona. So.
And it's one of the first movies to show the quirkiness of the Coen Brothers film style.
Mm-hmm.
But it's another, I would say, cult classic. I like Raising Arizona a lot. Mike, what would you choose on this list? Because there's not too many to choose from number 50 to 60. To the principal.
Oh no, where'd Kevin go?
Kevin's right there.
I'm here.
You can't see him. You can't see him behind the sunglasses.
I can't see him behind the K. All I see is his K.
That's all right. Just keep going.
Now I see him and I don't see Leo.
I can see him on my end. It's fine.
Jim Belushi, Louis Gossett Jr. About a principal with a tough knock school and his baseball bat.
Wait, isn't that Lean on Me with Morgan Freeman?
That's right. I'm Joe Brown.
No.
You call me Batman. So, not one that I've seen in a while.
I'm only hearing every other word from you guys.
Leo's going to pick number 54. I know he is.
I am. I'm picking number 54, yeah. Because honestly, for a lack of anything better on this list, I'm going with Jaws: The Revenge.
It's just a paycheck from Michael Caine. My cocaine.
It bought him a house in Italy, I think, or something. Mike's getting so nervous right now. He's smoking again.
No, it's just I'm only hearing every other word from you guys.
I picked Jaws: The Revenge.
I heard that. And something about Michael Caine.
I bought it.
Michael Caine.
I bought it. I picked it as a film that people should avoid.
Should, yes.
Let's go to 60 to 70. I'm going to go first this time. I'm picking. Oh my God, there's a lot to choose from on this list.
Yeah.
Ooh, I have one I'm not going to pick because I know Kevin's going to pick it. So I'm going to go with. I have 2 that I'm really, really torn over. I think I'm going to have to go with
65 and 69.
It's between 65 and 67.
65 and
67, not 67. 65 and 68.
Oh, I thought it was 69. Between 65 and 69. Okay.
That film is terrible. No, I'm going to go with 68. Over the top. Sylvester Stallone as an arm wrestler. Nothing more need be said.
He was a truck driver, arm wrestling.
Who arm wrestled.
To buy a truck.
And basically abducted his kid from military school.
Exactly.
So, Mike, I'm going to go to you next. What are you choosing?
Oh, well, I guess I'm going to have to go with a different one since you picked the one I was going to go with.
Oh, really?
I'm going to go with
I picked that one.
Project X.
I picked that one thinking. Oh. I picked that one thinking you were going to pick 65.
No, I'm going to go with Project X.
This is not the film about the parties. This is the film about Matthew Broderick and the monkeys.
Training the
Going into
monkeys to
space.
fly during a nuclear war.
Very sad film.
No.
It's very
Nuclear
sad.
Wars,
film, but
War Games.
Very good movie.
Wrong. No, you're mixing up your Matthew Broderick's.
It's War Games with monkeys.
Yes.
So, Kevin, which one are you going to choose then?
Oh man, well now I'm torn. I
Oh, come on.
I think I'm between 60 and 69, man.
Really? You're not going to go with 65? Nobody's going to take 65?
No one's gonna. No,
Who's gonna take
because that
64?
It ruined the cartoons for me, man.
Fuck, then I'm taking a second one, goddammit. Masters of the Universe. He
But
fucking
I'm taking
man.
64.
Born in East LA.
I was
Born in East LA.
LA.
So, Kevin, you can take 2 then, too. How's that?
Well, then I will take 60. Some Kind of Wonderful, who we kind of the Leah Thompson thing that was kind of already kindling within me because of Back to the Future and Eric Stoltz and Mary Stuart Masterson, right? Which I know is kind of chick flicky, but I still digged it. It was very good. But then Superman for our last performance of Superman by the great Christopher Reeve.
Should have stopped
They
at
should
2.
have stopped at 2.
That's gonna be
They
nice.
should have stopped with the Richard Donner cut of part 2. So that takes us to 70 to 80. So, Kev, you go first on number 70 to 80.
All right, I'm going first. 70 to 80. I'm going with shit. No, not that one. Number. No, I can't give it. I didn't. Okay. Number 79, Back to the Beach.
There
Back
you
to the
go.
Beach, which I want to say was Annette Funicello.
Yeah, it's
or
Annette Funicello and Frankie Avalon.
Frankie Avalon.
Mm-hmm.
And it also had, what was her name? She played Aunt Becky.
Lori
Full
Loughlin.
House.
Yeah.
Right. Oh.
She's the one that's in prison now for lying to get her daughter in college.
Well,
yeah.
you gotta do what you gotta do for your kids, but
So, yeah, that's a funny one, man, because that was like an homage to those beach films that they were in the 60s.
Yeah. The Humunga Cowabunga from Down Under.
Mike, which one are you going with? You're going with Ishtar, aren't you?
I think I'm going to go with number 75, Creepshow 2.
Nice. It's another one.
Mm-hmm.
Better than Creepshow 1, I thought.
Yes.
I think it was better than Creepshow
And we
1.
left you yours.
You left me mine. I know you left me mine. Flowers in the Attic. No, mine is of course my favorite slasher horror film of all time, number 72 on the list that year, Hellraiser. The original Hellraiser.
Yeah, I knew you were a big fan of V.C. Andrews. I did.
Yeah, I'm a big V.C. Andrews fan. I was a little torn here because I do love Hellraiser as my favorite horror film, but Prince of Darkness is a good film too, and it's a John Carpenter film, which made me hurt to have to pick against it. So, 80 to 90. Don't see anything on here that I would pick.
86, Disorderlies.
Disorderlies, maybe. That was a Michael Keaton film. Danny DeVito, right?
No,
not Danny DeVito. It was Michael Keaton and Christopher Lloyd, right?
Nope.
Was it Michael Keaton and Disorderlies?
Nope.
What am I thinking of?
I don't know what you're thinking.
There was a movie with Michael Keaton and Christopher Lloyd where they played guys in a mental institute who escape or something.
No, these are three guys, three orderlies that taking care of a rich guy.
Oh, is that the one starring the Fat Boys?
Yeah, I think it's the Fat Boys.
The Fat Boys, the rap group from the 80s, the Fat Boys. Yeah. Disorderlies. Yeah, that's what that is. Yeah, I don't see anything else on that list.
I would say Hope and Glory. I remember watching it. I wouldn't say it's a great movie, but it was a movie about London during World War II throughout the bombing and everything. Like, I remembered it. Stands out in my head. That's about as much as I can say about that. That's all I'll say about that.
So we'll go through 90 to 100, and then after that, I'm just going to throw a few out here and there. So 90 to 100, I'm going to go with, I think there's one on here that Mike's going to choose. I don't want to take it from him, so I am going to go with 93, Teen Wolf 2. Not a great sequel. So bad that Michael J. Fox said, "Fuck it, I ain't coming back. Give it to Jason Bateman." And I chose that one because I have a feeling Mike is going with number 94.
That is a good movie. I'm not.
No,
That's what
I like House 2.
I hated House 2. The second story. I prefer House 1 with the greatest American hero.
So what are you going with then? The Chipmunk Adventure?
Well, I'll go with House 2 and say how bad it was. Just like,
So that's a movie to avoid for Mike there. So, Kev, do you have any in that last 10 there that you would say go for?
But this one is the one I think it is. And yep, Who's That Girl? Which is a Madonna movie, one of Madonna's earlier movies.
Mm-hmm. You can tell because it wasn't that successful.
Right. And this was a remake of Bringing Up Baby, which I really appreciate, which was Cary Grant and Katharine Hepburn. This was Madonna and somebody else. And this was just a modern 80s take of Bringing Up Baby.
So that is the top 100 films. I'm just going to briefly name a few from the bottom of part of the list here. Number 102, Evil Dead 2, Sam Raimi classic. Everybody should check that one out. You have number 111 was a re-release, Hannah and Her Sisters, which was a Woody Allen film, something I would kind of avoid at this point now after some shit recently came out about Woody Allen. Leonard Part 6, number 112. That's a Bill Cosby film. Fucking stay away from that film with all your might. And not just because it's Bill Cosby, because it's an awful goddamn movie. Let's see what else we got here. Color Purple was re-released this year.
117, yeah.
Never forget about number 120, American Ninja 2. Number 122, My Demon Lover, a terrible movie, but I remember watching it a lot when I was a kid. Number 124, I love this fucking movie. Yes. I can't believe it was this low.
Wolfman Has Nards.
Wolfman Has Nards. The Monster Squad was number 124 that year.
Wolfman Has Nards,
yeah, for all the times I watched it as a kid, I thought it would have been higher on the list, I actually saw recently.
I think it was only made for kids.
Yeah.
The kids were the only ones that watched it, which is why it wasn't higher.
Just in case you guys are interested, I recently found out that there's a documentary about the making of the film. That was released a couple years ago. I want to try to find it. The documentary is called The Wolfman's Got Nards. Alan Quatermain and the Lost City of Gold. That is Sharon Stone's film debut. Let's see what else we got. Near Dark. That was the vampire film with what's his face? Bill Paxton. What else we got here? Anything else?
3, Summer Job.
What else we got? We got not much that I see.
Oh, the camera.
160, number 160.
Number 160, the Garbage Pail Kids movie, of course. How can I forget the Garbage Pail Kids movie?
What, not Meatballs 3, Summer Job?
As I'm looking at the bottom of the list, I'm like, God damn, I never heard of any of these movies on the very bottom of the list, and I've seen a lot of shit. My God, Tough Guys Don't Dance. What the fuck is that about? The Barbarians. That's a Conan ripoff starring twins, two guys that are twins that are overly muscular.
Steel Dawn.
Siesta, Steel Dawn, Amazon Women on the Moon.
That one.
And number 200 that year, number 1 with a bullet. Obviously wasn't number 1 in the box office.
I've never heard of Canyon Film Distributors either. So.
All right. Mike, do you have any beer trivia or beer history for us this evening?
Got some beer history for you boys. Egyptian medical records dating back to the 1600 BCE include dozens of prescriptions that use beer as an ingredient. Physicians believe beer nourished all 3 parts of the human soul, the ka, the ba, and the aka.
For me, it nourishes the kidney, the liver, and the sphincter later on that night. All right. How are our drinks this evening? Kevin, how was your drinks from 2 o'clock on? Everything worth it?
Everything's delicious, gentlemen. It is summer, and I have christened summer, Leininkugel's summer shandy, and all the Sam Adams summer seasonal, and all the summer craft beers that I had at Maggie's in Philadelphia. Delicious, a great beer selection.
Very good. I did the strawberry lemonade Old Smoky whiskey with Sprite, thinking that it would, be good to cut it a little bit, so I wasn't going too hard on it. But the second one that I made for myself was more whiskey than anything else, and so I'm feeling it pretty good. If you're somebody out there who wants to try to drink some whiskey, but you're afraid of the taste, get some Old Smoky strawberry lemonade because it does not taste like straight whiskey. It's very, 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 very refreshing with a little bit of burn on the end. Mike, how was your bourbon with your Sea Breeze Chaser?
My Four Roses bourbon, very good. On the rocks.
Yeah, I like the Four Roses.
I'm going to sleep good tonight.
So thank you, everybody, for joining us tonight for episode 110, This Year in Film History, as we revisited the year 1987, a very, very good year for cinema. We hope you enjoyed listening to the podcast as much as we enjoyed recording it for you. Don't forget, you can email us at filmsoffermentation@gmail.com or visit linktree.com/filmsoffermentation to find all of our social media and podcast links. You can support the show on Patreon, or you can go to teespring.com and the Films Fermented storefront and buy some of our merchandise to help support the show.
Also, give us some likes, some shares, some 5-star reviews,
some downloads, some subscriptions.
Yep.
Buy some merch.
I'll even take a handshake or two. Yeah, buy the merch. Don't forget to stop by the crossroads between pickled and fermented next time when we present episode 111, episode 111. That's the good luck episode. We're going to be doing a deep dive on this episode. We're going to revisit one of our favorite films, a film that we briefly mentioned tonight as one of the top films of 1987. We're going to do a revisit, deep dive, breakdown, analysis, whatever you want to call it, of the 1987 classic film, The Untouchables.
The little-known actor, Robert De Niro.
I'm Leo.
I'm Kevin.
I'm Mike.
Thanks again for joining us, everybody. Cheers.
Cheers.
We have to have them probably sign a waiver or something, or like a permission slip.
Are you okay being on a podcast about beer consumption, alcohol consumption?
Are you okay with your children being on a podcast that's normally listed as explicit content?
Don't listen to episode 109.
So Mike, I was saying, so on Fridays now, I'm sorry. On Fridays now, I'm going to recommend a movie on Twitter that people should watch. So if you guys have a suggestion for anything, let me know. It doesn't have to be something like new. If it's like an older film that you like and you think people should watch, like I rewatched Some Like It Hot recently.
Okay.
And I fucking movie's so awesome, and I feel like that's one I might recommend at some point. So the first recommendation I did was this past Friday. I recommended a movie that I had talked about on the podcast a couple weeks ago called The Artifice Girl, and it was about the AI program that is used to catch child predators, and it starts to get a mind of its own. So I tweeted a recommendation for that film, and then the writer, director, and star of the film, his name's Franklin Rich, was being interviewed by the guys from the Everything Wrong With videos.
Okay.
They were interviewing him on their podcast this week, and it was a really cool podcast. It was a good interview, and he gave his information out at the end. So I tweeted him, and I was like, hey, I saw Artifice Girl. I really loved it. I wanted to thank you for making that film. I said it got to me in a way that not many movies have recently, and I really, really enjoyed it. And I quoted the tweet I put where I recommended it as our Friday feature. And today I got a like back from him and a message that said, thanks, guys. And I was like, wow, I got the guy that created the movie. All he said was thanks, guys, but that was enough to get me excited.
Well, yeah.
So I was like, that's cool. It was the character that was the crackhead guy.
Mm-hmm.
And they had one episode where he was on Fear Factor.
Oh, yeah.
And he had to eat a bull's dick or something like that, and he's like, he was over there scratching his neck like he did all the time. And he's like, "This ain't no big deal, Joe Rogan. Ain't the first time I had dick in my mouth." Oh, No, the best skit on the Chappelle Show was Knee High Park, which was like the spoof of the Sesame Street.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
The character comes out and looks like Oscar the Grouch, and he sings a song called "Fuck It." That's why I said, "Fuck it."
Your camera froze on you, Lee.
Yeah, I know my charger keeps turning off on me too.
But
And
we
we're
can
back.
still hear you.
You can still hear me?
I can still
Still
hear you.
Still recording.
That's
Hello? Hello?
You're just frozen in space. We can move on.
Moving on. God, I hope this records.
Oh, God bless.